Well, hey, Kindergarten Unit 4, let's talk about lessons 1 and 2. They're going to be review for your quick practice. So we're using our 10 cards, our yellow make 10. And so right here, our giant number cards are going to be used to build our numbers. So the student leader will bring up a 10 card if you're using the digital assets, or their physical card if it's using physical. I find that with my Sweet Kinders, I have to have a chalkboard ledge or a chair or something there that helps them manage all of the cards, because it is a lot to hold, because they're holding up a 10 and then they're changing out the ones cards. So if that's the case, they need to have a place to discard and a place to pick up, because holding both is not going to happen. So we want them now to do this out of order. Boys and girls, say it with me. 10 and 4 make class 14. 10 and 5 make class 15. So the student leader is helping to put the cards together. The rest of the room, though, now is also finger flashing. So if it's 10 and 5, we're going to say 10 and 5 make, and the student leader puts them together, 15. Okay, let's say it again. 10 and 6 make 16. So we finger flash our 10s on our left and our 1s on our right. So you're going to finger flash and do our teen numbers for the first couple of lessons here. The second part of that quick practice is addition stories within one. So you have a slide to help guide you if you need to. Otherwise, my suggestion is just to tell math stories. So I've seen this done lots of different ways, but a teacher will call up a student, a little kindergartner comes up, and they say, who can tell us an addition story? Sarah, tell us an addition story. And Sarah might say, I picked 3 cherries from the tree, and then I picked 1 more. And then they have to ask a question, because as we know, that's the hardest part. How many cherries did she pick? And when the student leader gives the signal, the class gives the answer. So then the student leader might say, class, and the whole class would say 4. Now, I suggest that you might mix that up just a little bit. And if the student leader tells the story of the 3 cherries and the 1 cherry, that the rest of the room should retell the story. Everybody, let's retell Claire's story. She picked 3 cherries from 1 tree. Then she picked 1 more. Ask a question. How many cherries did she pick? Class, 4, right? So now we can say the full addition equation. 3 plus 1 equals 4. Charlie, tell us an addition story. There were 2 alligators in the pond, and then 1 more alligator came. Ask a question. How many alligators are there in all? Boys and girls, tell his story. There were 2 alligators in the pond. 1 more alligator came. How many alligators are in the pond? Class, 3. So we still don't give the answer until we're given the signal, but I think that students repeating the story and using their fingers is a really great addition to this quick practice. So you're going to do that. You have lesson 1, lesson 2, so you continue to do our teen numbers and our addition stories. Then you get to lesson 3 here, and we get to introduce the fun time finger wiggles. And so the finger wiggles are where we're going to work with a total. So in this case, it's a 5. And students are going to come up with the different combinations or partners to 5. So if I say, boys and girls, show me 5, 5 is our total. Everyone shows me 5. Boys and girls, wiggle your fingers, and they're going to wiggle all 5. And then we're going to say, someone tell me a partner to 5. And someone's going to say 4. And we happen to have it on the screen so that those of you who just want to use the examples here, you can. Okay, so I'm going to say, okay, so my total is 5. Boys and girls, wiggle 4. And we only want them to wiggle 4 of the fingers. And then we're going to say, boys and girls, what goes with 4 to make a 5? And the class is going to say 1. Wiggle 1. And they're going to wiggle that other one. Now, some students, even me, like I'm having a hard time wiggling that little pinky without my other finger moving. So you can hug these 4. So wiggle 4, wiggle 1. Boys and girls, wiggle 5, and they're going to keep saying it. 4 and 1 are partners of 5. It's about feeling, truly feeling the partners. Say it again. 4 and 1 are partners of 5. The other thing I find very helpful is if they actually put their fingers down on their lap, and then they are on the floor if you're brave enough, and now they can scratch to wiggle. And that tends to help that dexterity of we can't keep the other finger down, we can't wiggle the right one, so now let's wiggle. 4 and 1 are partners of 5. Boys and girls, what's another partner of 5? 3. Boys and girls, wiggle 5. Okay, wiggle one partner, wiggle the 3. And we want them to be on the same hand because we want them to feel those partners. How many aren't wiggling? 2. Boys and girls, 3 and 2 are partners of 5. Let's lay it flat. 3, wiggle 3. Wiggle 2. Say it together. 3 and 2 are partners of 5. So now that's going to change because you're going to have, oh, what about 4? What are the partners of 4? What are the partners of 7? And again, it's coming up with all the different partners, but feeling them in our finger wiggles. It's going to be tough in the beginning. Just know that. Okay, so it's going to be harder for them to do the finger wiggles. They will get better and they're going to do great with it. So you continue to do all of these partners. At lesson 3, you start telling a subtraction story. There were 3 apples in my basket and then I ate one. So everyone, let's tell the story with our fingers. There were 3 apples in her basket and then she ate one. Boys and girls, ask a question. How many apples are there now? Class, 2. Okay, so that's what we want students to do. You're going to do that just for a couple of times. Only for the 5 minutes should this entire thing take. So you're doing your finger wiggles, you're telling a couple of stories, we're finished, we go to the next lesson for the next day. Okay, so you'll continue that with different partners. We go back to subtraction stories. You can see we keep going here. We go back, more subtraction stories, and then you're going to get to lessons 11 to 22. So lessons 11 to 22, now we're going to do our finger wiggles for 9, 8, 7, 10. You're going to see the larger numbers. And then we do shape identification. You have 2 different slides for shape identification. For the first one, we're going to just point to a shape and students on cue are going to tell the name of the shape. So I point here, circle, square. Now, we know that some shapes have more than one answer. So if I point to a square, if they say square or rectangle, they're both correct. If I point to a rectangle, of course, it's only a square. So we don't have to point to all the shapes every day, but it's just about shape recognition. You can always turn this into a quick number talk or shape talk. Okay, someone tell me how they knew that this one was a rectangle. And you don't do that for everyone. You'll never finish in time. But stopping to have a conversation about the attributes of one of the shapes could be a good add-on for your students. Then we're going to ask students, how many sides does a hexagon have? And students are going to say 6 sides. And we're going to say, now I'm going to point to a shape and I want you to tell me how many sides it has or another name for the shape. So technically, if they say a 6-sided shape, they're right. If they say a hexagon, they're right. But I am looking for maybe fluency in both. So if I point to a shape, let's just say I point to this one, and we can say, boys and girls, think about it. Now they should be counting the sides in their head, or of course the student leader could help with that. So if we have to mark up the sides if we're not seeing them, okay, then we can say, oh, there's 5 sides. Boys and girls, what do you call this? And kids can say a hex or a pentagon. It's a 5-sided shape. Boys and girls, what is this? And they're pointing to it. We have kids that are counting in their head. Give them a moment to count them all. Okay, boys and girls, what shape is this? Boys, it's a hexagon, a 6-sided shape. Okay, and then they're going to point to another one. So a 4-sided shape, a 6-sided shape, a 8-sided shape, I think. Oh no, we just go up to 7 sides. 4, 5, 6, or 7. Of course, a pentagon and hexagon we have our official names for, and then we can talk about octagon, although pentagon and hexagons are only the formal ones they will use in kindergarten.